There are actors who occupy a certain kind of space in the public imagination, people who seem to represent something effortless and assured, whose presence on screen communicates confidence and charm without apparent effort. Pierce Brosnan has been that kind of figure for most of his professional life. The dark hair, the easy smile, the ability to wear a suit or deliver a line with a smoothness that made everything look simple. To the world watching from the outside, his life seemed to match the polished image. But the truth behind that image is a story full of grief and loss and quiet courage that most people never fully knew about. And understanding it changes how you see this man entirely. Pierce Brosnan was born in May of 1953 in a small town in County Meath, Ireland. His earliest years were shaped by absence more than presence. His father left when Pierce was still an infant, and his mother, needing to find work, eventually traveled to England to build a better life. Pierce was left in the care of his grandparents, and when they passed away, he moved between other relatives and eventually a boarding school. He has spoken about that period of his childhood with remarkable honesty, describing what it feels like to be a small boy who does not quite understand why the people he loves keep disappearing. That early experience of abandonment and uncertainty planted something deep inside him, a longing for connection and belonging that would shape the rest of his life in ways both beautiful and painful. He eventually joined his mother in England as a teenager, and it was there that he discovered a passion for performance. He trained as an actor with genuine seriousness, studying his craft and working his way through theater before finding his footing in television and then film. The work was slow at first, as it always is for people building something real from nothing. But he was determined, and he had a quality on screen that was difficult to teach. A natural magnetism that drew the camera and the audience toward him. Without him having to force anything, his personal life found its center when he met a woman named Cassandra Harris, an actress of warmth and beauty who became the love of his life. They married in 1980 and built a life together that was full and genuine. Pierce adopted her 2 children from a previous relationship, and the family grew with the birth of a son. By the accounts of everyone who knew them, they were deeply devoted to one another. Cassandra was not just his partner, but his anchor, the person who gave his life the stability and warmth that his childhood had so often lacked. And then came the loss that changed everything. Cassandra was diagnosed with a serious illness, and despite everything that love and medicine could offer, she passed away in 1991. She was only in her early 40s. Pierce was left to raise 3 children while carrying a grief that he has described in interviews as almost impossible to put into words. He was also, at that particular moment in his career, on the edge of a major professional opportunity, which meant that he had to find a way to hold himself together, publicly even, while privately he was devastated. The image of composure that the world associated with him cost him something real during those years. He eventually found love again with Keely Shea Smith, a journalist and television presenter whom he met in 1994. Their relationship grew steadily, and they married in 2001. Together, they have 2 sons. And by all appearances, their partnership has been one of genuine mutual support and deep affection. Pierce has spoken about Keely with a kind of tenderness that makes it clear she arrived in his life at a moment when he needed someone real and strong, and that she has been exactly that ever since. But grief did not stay away. In 2013, his passed away from the same illness that had taken her mother years before. She was in her 40s with children of her own. The repetition of that particular loss. Losing the woman he had built his family around, and then losing the daughter who reminded him of her, is the kind of sorrow that sits in a person permanently. There is no moving past something like that. There is only learning to carry it. Pierce has spoken about both losses with a quiet dignity that is deeply affecting. He does not perform his grief for public consumption. He does not use it to generate sympathy or headlines. He simply acknowledges it when asked. with the honesty of a person who has learned that loss is real and that pretending otherwise does nobody any good. That quality, the willingness to be honest about pain while still choosing to live fully, is perhaps the most admirable thing about him. His career continued through all of it. He took on the role that made him a household name across the world, stepping into one of the most iconic parts in cinema history and making it his own for nearly a decade. He followed that with a wide range of work that showed far more range than the image of easy charm might suggest. He sang on screen. He played complicated and broken characters. He took risks that demonstrated a genuine desire to grow as a performer rather than simply coast on his reputation. At 72, Pierce Brosnan is a man who has known extraordinary highs and devastating lows. He has stood at the center of global fame, and he has stood at the graveside of people he loved more than anything the fame could offer. He has raised children through his own grief. He has found love more than once and held on to it with both hands. The tragedy of his story is real, but so is the resilience. And perhaps that combination, the sorrow and the strength existing side by side, is what makes him not just a star, but a genuinely remarkable human